Hey everybody, I know it's been a while. I was trying to get some things organized, and then I just decided to post the first two videos for Obra Dinn without cutting them down any. The times where I stopped and took a small break to think weren't more than a couple seconds or a minute at the most. But I will be able to edit them in the future if I need to, so I went back through and made sure it was just the first video that I didn't have the audio recorded for. So the first thing we're going to do, continuing today, is we're going to go back into the we're going to go back in, and we're going to go back through all of the scenes that we missed the audio for in the first video before coming back and continuing progression. So it'll be a little bit longer having to do that, but all in all, it shouldn't really be that bad. All right, so this is the file we're going to do because there's only like 6 fates that I've figured out right now. Alright, so we were 2 decks below. I think that was the Orlop deck. So before we do that, we gotta go through and do all of these scenes again.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Ah! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Alright, so yeah, we're not going to be going through and solving these, as we can just leave through the door to the next scene in them. This is all just to go through and let you actually hear all of these scenes that we missed the audio for due to me forgetting to unmute.
Where are they? Must be in here someplace.
They're at the bottom of the sea.
That's a lie.
We're not going to be really exploring around and what was I saying? We're not going to be exploring around and examining every body and everything on these scenes. We're just going to play back through them in order for you to hear them. I might just have to take a second later on to actually remember where it actually, or remember where it had actually stopped. Before we see that, we have this one here. Just going to take a bit of a drink. So Abigail's death actually starts the next chapter that was seen in this, The Doom. Now, despite not being able to hear the game in the first video, I implore you to go back to that if you want to know what to look for and where to look for them all over the ship in the first video for all these scenes, because I do a pretty good job covering where everyone was and people that you need to keep track of that are in these earlier scenes for figuring out how they died and what they died from.
Abigail, your brother, my friend. I shot him dead. I'll be with you soon, my love. Please forgive me for everything.
Now, one thing I might have forgotten to mention when I went back through and watched them to make sure they were decent quality to put up without being edited is he does say her name there. And we know that's the captain. So by going off of her name, you can figure out who he shot here and what his name was. Alright, now I need to remember who was next after Abigail. Okay, so who do we have up here? Alright, I don't think that was immediately after that yet. There was you, but I know we didn't do you first. And it's not till at least Abigail's seen that the next deck opened up. Now here's you'll see going back, you can just skip to the scene and it'll still play all of the audio and the voice acting. Maybe you were the next one. Well, actually, that was the guy that I was thinking was next. So, yeah, we had him. And next it looks like it's you. Alright, so like I've said, this is going to be just a bit of recap because I did not realize when I recorded the first video that I had the game audio muted on OBS. So we're just going back through all the scenes in that first half hour without any of the explanation or anything, just to hear them. So you get all of the game audio and the voicing. Yeah, we're going to go through all of those fairly quickly. We're not going to take a whole half hour to do it because we're not going through explaining anything. It was already explained in that one. Just this way, because I made that little mistake, and because you can go back and replay scenes, this will allow us to listen to the game audio and the voicing for them all. Okay, so now that last scene would have opened up down here. And this would have been our first scene down here. Alright, I just want to check something. Crushed by a loose cannon. Okay, so we did mark him down. There's the other two of those guys. The one that got blown up a second ago. And that opens up this guy. So I don't think I went over it before just because it was just more a nautical term than anything to give a clue with someone's identity. Belay spark means hold it. So when the Kraken decided to reach his tentacle end and wrap it around the tank and grab it, he was telling them to hold off on firing it. Okay, you're blasted by the cannon, and you were blasted by the cannon too. There's just nothing left of this guy, because as you can see, he's folded right to the top of the cannon, and it was already lit. You do? Yeah, you got crushed, because the Kraken crushed the cannon against you. So most of these guys down here, for the most part, are regular seamen. Well, we could identify you. We don't really know anything to do that yet. We just know you died scene above, and if you're down here, I don't think you've actually been in too many memories yet for us to really give you much of a definition. Okay, then... was that it? Those guys... and then the guy that got crushed? Seems like it, okay. Again, if I linger and check things, I'm not going to take too long to go over them. That way we save some time and can get back to going through the game itself, as opposed to recapping with audio for everyone. Alright, so let's step over the cannon there. And then we head here.
No, you're cut.
Don't leave me.
Bear up, son. I'll stay with you.
Tell Pete's mother I tried my best
Aye.
to pull him back, to save him.
You tell her yourself. Brennan! Bring the surgeon's kit!
So we heard two names there, and then there were a couple phrases he used that you could... So for this guy here, There's a couple phrases he used. Well, we've already identified him, but in case you hadn't yet, there's a couple phrases that he used, as well as his accent, to help identify him through his nationality. Alright, so this guy looks like he's got his ear perked up. And we already have him identified, so yeah, he was talking to this guy here, so that was Brennan. So that was his death. Then we got these two.
What's all this shit, Gavin?
Okay, did we mark this guy off? Yes, clubbed by Brennan, okay. And you're that guy. Okay, that's William when he comes down and sees this guy crawling into the midshipman cabin there. So I went over that too in the video. I pulled up the map and showed that this guy was dead in the midshipman cabin to give you a bit of a help with him. Okay, so next in line for a recap is this guy.
Captain Cameron. You have a plan? Yes. They ship us east. Trade rich fish and shells for gold. Hey, who's there?
Mutiny! Mutiny!
Bastard.
Alright, so there's when he gets stabbed. And how you can tell he's stabbed with a knife is you can see the knife shoved in his back. Knifed by an unknown attacker. No, I don't want to look at him, but he has one of the hats on. Ugh, wrong person. This game can be a little difficult like that. Let's make sure. Okay, that is his hat, but as you can clearly see, his face is blown clean off a little bit there. Okay, we do have him marked to being killed by an unknown officer. Again, that is another way you can help narrow down who's who and who they're killed by. If you know what their rank on the ship is, you can narrow it down to that people of that rank before narrowing it down specifically to the name. Alright, so that's all of them. We already did those two. Okay, we did do him. That's right, we're on the next deck below.
Put me down. Let go.
Easy now. You're in a bad way.
Is the squid? Where is my Frenchman?
The squid's gone. Your mate was torn apart.
The cat. The beast is dead.
So there's 3 clues to who this guy is and who his mate is already.
We didn't. It left with the storm. The captain came up from the hold. Said he chased it off. You should rest.
Curse like that. Does that live for nothing?
Alright, so if you recognize his accent, let me see, did we actually live on? Oh, yeah, we did. We got him. If you recognize his accent, or his phrase for damped, you can figure out who he is from his nationality, and the bosun's the only one that has a Frenchman for a mate, so those are your clues for him. Alright, well, hang on, so... Alright, you're William, and you're Martin. No, there's another one right here we haven't identified yet, so we can't say which of the other two officers you are at the moment. Okay, there's William coming out. Captain coming up. Oh, that's the captain. That is the one midshipman. Alright, was there anyone else on this deck? I believe there is another scene that we can spot going into one of these rooms. Yep, just close behind me, why not? Besides the obvious one with the blood trailing from it. Over here, we'll check these couple rooms. Okay, this is one of the rooms where there was a cannon. And, like, the porthole for the cannon was got ripped through on a lot of the spots here. Oh, I don't think there's a cannon that's meant to be. It looks like there's one that got ripped all the way through to there. Or just the ship got ripped apart there. But yeah, so we didn't see this one yet. This is when the cannon goes, blasts this guy into oblivion. And then the guy that was in front of it obviously just gets disintegrated from the cannon shot into the fire. You know, just looking for the door to exit the scene here. Alright, so that's all of that stuff recapped. I think everything else was good at that point. And forgive me, I do know going back through that even though I did have the audio there, couldn't really hear the voices or anything in the second video. I do have it turned up a little bit this time around. So if it's still a little hard to hear them, remember we do have to kind of keep it lower to avoid any issues. Hopefully you can just hear a little bit. So here we have that skull that we can use, which that's more of an early scene, not really any deaths in it. It's just to help you identify things. Alright, so let me go into the book here. I just want to make sure whether we have these couple scenes down here yet or not. Okay, we do have the Doom. That's what we were just going through, but... No, alright. We don't have that scene, we don't have the guy out there. We don't have that scene, we don't have the corpse we saw on the side there. Looks like we're back to progressing further into the game at this point, finally. There is one of these doored rooms that will give us a scene too, so... Now I'd like to find that room first. I think these are the two stores. The carpenters and, yep, gunsmiths. Didn't find what I was looking for up above in the gun deck, but that might actually be where it is. So I'm just going to quickly come back up here and take a quick look. There it is. You can see there's a bit of bone tangled. Someone's bone, possibly a leg bone. Something in a foot? Yeah, it's definitely a calf bone because you can see their foot tangled in some rope or something there dangling. So let's check this, make sure. Oh, that's right, we didn't do anything down here if I recall. Nope.
Slack the lifts and lower the boats! The whole crew will be on us! Give it up!
Alright, let me just boost the audio on that a little bit. Wait, what was that? Okay. Already about a half an hour, but like I said, this video is going to run a bit longer just because we are going to go through the scenes from the first video with the audio actually available. Alright, so this guy was shot by this officer, and he's holding a woman we had not seen before. One of the gunners. Okay, there's the guy that exploded. That's that one. Again, make sure that you're looking around the whole ship. Don't just focus on the one scene. Okay, then we got this guy who we could identify. That guy there. There's another one of these foreign-looking people that have not been seen before yet. So this is chapter 3 now, the murder. And this is right off of Canary Islands. And takes place by the first and third mate's cabins on the top deck. Alright, so now we can look before we do that. So the guy is this guy, the woman is this woman, obviously. You can tell by her dress. We had not seen these people before. That's that guy there. And that one. Okay, well, those were livestock they kept on the boat for feeding. We had looked at these guys. Guys obviously won't. This is where it's a little annoying to target the right person. So I'm trying to target him, it's targeting her. He's one officer that we can't identify right now. But good to keep these things in mind. Him we can identify, but we don't actually get much on him. And, after everything comes to a stop and we're just set with everyone from this section of the game, or from this chapter, when we can exit the door and leave, I'll go over identifying him. You're that guy. So let's click now. It'll take it to someone else. It's not taking us to him just yet. Oh no, this is someone on the opposite end of the ship. Oh no, it's not. They're towards the opposite end, but they're not up on the other deck. It's this guy that we saw hanging here. So like I've said, as I know it's been a while, make sure you keep this, mist or whatever you want to refer to it as, from the watch, in your vision, and near you. If you move ahead of it because you know where it's going to go, it's going to stop and wait for you to come back before it does anything. So for the sake of saving yourself some time and speeding it up, making sure you don't waste time moving through scenes, always make sure that you're by it and watching where it's going. So now we can identify this guy, or we'll go through his death.
Hok Seng Lao, you have been found guilty by self-confession.
So we have his name.
Of Nunzio Pasquale.
So there's 3 names.
This ship, and by the authority of the East India Company, and thus the Crown of England, I sentence you to death by firing line. Mr. Wolf, when you are ready.
There's a 4th name.
Ready, men. Aim. Fire.
Okay, so we know who you are. And then once we've identified these 3, we can safely narrow them down quite decently too. Now if you watch, everyone fired, only 1 shot actually connected. So you want to follow that fire trail to Brennan here. And that's when he got killed by, shot with a gun by Brennan. There's one of our unnamed officers. Alright, so this is someone else. Yeah, so basically, like, this is basically who got shot, so these 2 were a couple. We know both of their names. This was the person talking to them, so he's of a similar nationality. So you can understand what they're saying and talk with them. And we'll learn more about what this is all about coming up. So we hear his name. Hok Seng Lao of Formosa. And we know exactly how he was killed and by who. Shot with a gun by... Where are you? Must be further down here. Well, Brennan's his last name, so... Now, the Nunzio Pasquale is not someone we've seen yet. We have their name, but even when we find out what happens to them, we're not going to know it's him immediately, like a bell ringing and like a bell going off in your head. Alright, I think Brennan... Yeah, here he is. Alright, so we had him and her. We can narrow those... Well, we can name her and we can narrow those two down. Because we heard their names and we heard the person that set the order to fire. So yeah, basically this picture here is of this scene that we're in right now. Just take a second to see who's here. Okay. You've been in a couple scenes now. There's the third mate, captain. Now I wanted to examine you. You're his first mate. Here you are. You look like you're the one giving the order, so... He said Mr. Wolf. So for now, let's find someone with the last name Wolf. Christian Wolf. Gunner. Name you off. Okay, besides Brennan, do we know anyone else in this lineup at the moment? No. Okay. Alright, so for this scene, I will give you a bit of one of those tips I was talking about that'll really help you identify people faster. I might have mentioned it in one of the first two videos, but it does come in handy here, and it will help you with identifying people from this picture and in this scene. So remember how I said, and the description said, that the mates will often hang around the officer they're assigned to because they're specifically assigned to help that person. So here's one officer. This guy standing next to him. The picture is most likely his mate. These people here are all standing by the third mate. For now, alright, where are the mates? Oh, okay, yep. Awesome. So I figured he was the third mate steward because he was standing right next to him. And we obviously knew who he was. And Mr. Wolf, obviously, the guy giving the order to fire. Alright, so now with that note of how people of a similar position are also dressed similarly. So I had to keep this music going in the background here like this. So that probably means that all three of these guys are also mates. Yeah, because you're the first mate. Or all four of these guys are stewards. So you're the third mate steward and you're the first mates. Alright, so first, third, and one of these guys is going to be the second mate. Fortunately, I don't think there's a way for me to say that this person is a unknown mate. No, yeah, we can do unknown officer, which applies to all of them. That's a bit too confusing. So just remember, those couple of guys, and then this guy over here by this officer, are all mate stewards. Now, there is a special steward, let me see here. Is it the glossary they want to go to? Yeah. No, I guess not. Give it to an officer, hire a crew member performing general duties for the comfort of their employer. I just gotta go into the book, I guess. So. I have to go on someone who's not identified. So we're just going in here to show you something with these stewards here. So obviously you have the captain steward, the first, second, third, and fourth mate steward. And then there's this guy, the ship's steward. And he still hangs around in all these scenes with all the other stewards whenever he's there. But as you can see, he's not assigned to anyone. He's generally to take care of the ship. Alright, now let's continue on here. And see where this next beat on the body here is going to take us. Okay, give me 1 second here. Alright, I'll probably cut it soon here because otherwise we're going to be heading into an hour. Actually, you know what? I think, sorry to do this after only doing a couple scenes, but we did go over a decent bit of information for the couple of scenes and everyone that was there. But because we're already at 40 minutes, I'm going to call the video after locating this body with the help of the watch, and when we come back in the next video, we'll start off with him. So hope you all have enjoyed this in-depth look into a Let's Play for Return of the Obra Dinn and how to quickly and efficiently figure out who is who and what they got killed by. Or, well, figuring out how they got killed isn't the hard part. Figuring out who they are is the hard part. So hope, as I just said, that you've been enjoying this in-depth Let's Play of it, figuring out how to efficiently, without taking too long, figuring out who people are a little bit faster and easier. And I've been putting cards on these videos to go back and forth between them, so I hope you use them if you've been liking these to continue watching. Well, like I said, when we come back, we'll continue solving more people as we're all caught up now with watching events from the first video where we had no audio. So with that, let you go. When we come back, it'll be just straight progression. Until the next time, guys.